Hey heroes, welcome back. Ez here. I have Sarah O'Malley.
That's
Sarah
my name.
O'Malley from Swish and Flick podcast, and that's a Harry Potter podcast in case friends didn't know. They're doing a reread of the series. I recently asked, she recently finished The Eye of the World, first book in the Wheel of Time series. And I'm just excited to kind of get your thoughts and to talk. This is going to be a spoiler discussion about the first book.
Did you just air quotes around spoiler?
Yeah, why would I do that? I don't really know what that means. Yeah, so it's a spoiler.
It's a spoiler.
Does that mean it's not a spoiler? What am I saying there?
I think that's what it means.
Oh, gosh. So we are going to do a spoiler discussion about The Eye of the World. And we did a non-spoiler discussion where we talked about how it was this book is essentially addictive. It's an addictive read, and you flew through it in 2 weeks, I think.
Yeah.
You said?
Just about.
Okay. So what are your thoughts overall? Like how about this? Would you like me to do a too long didn't read 30-second, just sort of talk about the book, and then we can go from there? What you know?
Sure.
Is that okay?
Because I read it. I know what happened, but I also have a horrible memory. I can't even tell you what happened in Harry Potter. Who even is he? I don't know.
Well, you read it in 2 weeks. I mean, it's a big book. It's not like it's a, you know.
Well, and I think the biggest thing, I wouldn't say a hurdle. There's a lot of names.
Yes.
And that's like a known thing that there's like over like 2,000, right? Like there's a crazy amount of names, and there's some people you meet like once. Yeah. You're never gonna see them again.
See ya.
But you might remember their name over like the main character dudes, you know?
Right. Yeah, no, for sure. There's a lot of names. There's a lot of places and things like that. And they've talked about in the TV show adaptation, we got to cut some of that out. Like that's impossible to think we're going to have that many different people and characters and settings. So, it's a lot. And like I said, in 2 weeks, I kind of think what people need to do, and I'm telling my buddy Matt, who we're doing this, it's his first read as well. I've read it multiple times. He's reading through, and I said, "You're not going to be able to retain everything." And I mean, seriously, if you think
you're not wrong.
There are very few people who can do that and say, "Yep, I got it. I know the ins and outs of that book."
Yeah, I mean, and think about with Harry Potter and our podcast, that's been out 20 years, and I've read it several times, and there's things reading it now that I didn't catch, but also I'm reading it with an older perspective because when I first started reading it, I was 11 years old. So.
Sure.
Reading it then versus reading when I'm 30, completely different mindset that I'm seeing, and I'm picking up different things that I wouldn't have picked up then.
Right. Well, and so I kind of think a book is well written if you can go back to it and you get more out of it each time. I really do. So, and that's definitely the case with the Wheel of Time series, because I'm in it now and I'm going, holy smokes, because I'm trying to like reread it even now and blitz ahead of where Matt's at. Keep ahead, but then also know those connections. I can't really make the connections because again, it's like kind of spoiler, and we're doing on the podcast. Yeah. He's just trying to experience it. We're capturing his reactions, but So I think we should do a summary, just because there's a lot. Okay.
Can you do it in 30 seconds? Though?
30 seconds. Do you have a timer? We need to time. Oh my gosh.
Fun fact: I have a phone and it has a timer on it.
All right, set me up for 30 seconds here. Let's see if I can do this. It's gonna be crazy.
That's minutes.
It's going to be a mad dash. And this is spoiler, so I'm going to use names. I'm going to be talking cities, towns, names, all that kind of stuff.
All right, you tell me when you're ready.
I am ready. Go.
Okay.
Prologue, Lews Therin. This guy, he's the dragon. He's super cool. 3,000 years ago. There's characters, Rand, Matt, Perrin, Nynaeve, Gwen. No, I'm not going to make it. Moraine. They're in the small town, Emmonsfield. Nowhere close.
Well, I shouldn't look at you because I make you laugh. You got 9 seconds.
Can I start over? Can we start over?
He's telling me, he's like,
there's no way.
Quick summary, 30 seconds. I'm like, there's no way.
There's no way.
There's so much stuff that happens.
Let me try it one more time.
You want to try 30 seconds again?
Yeah, one more time.
All right, I won't look at you. I won't look at you.
All right, 30 seconds.
I don't know if that made you laugh.
30 seconds.
All right, go.
A group of characters from the Two Rivers go on an epic quest. They are greeted by a wise, sage-like individual named Moraine, who says, hey, essentially you, the Dark One is after some of you. Come with me on this quest. I'm taking you back to Tar Valon, this magical city where we have all this information. And along the way, they're attacked by the Dark One and all these other different dark creatures. And they learn about all this information. They have to go to a place called the Eye of the World. Is that it?
Yep.
Okay.
There's 30 seconds.
That's impossible. I would love to see somebody.
I will say you did very well.
You can't mention all the characters' names like that in 30 seconds. But anyways, so here we go. Let's get into this. We have the prologue. This starts off. We're not going to go chapter by chapter or point by point, but
I will say I don't remember too much that happened in the prologue because I didn't reread it because I tried to read the book I think last year when I was in school. I said before I can't read and go to school at the same time because I won't focus on my schoolwork. I'd rather read a book.
Yeah.
So I'm I don't remember 100%, but I do remember. But anyways, because it was the breaking of the world, right?
Yes, breaking the world. Yeah. So you've got that. You've got the dragon, right? The dragon. Luce Theron, who essentially, you have this war against the shadow, and he does what he has to do. Well, they don't really tell you exactly that. What they tell you in the prologue is that, I mean, we see a man who can channel, who's gone insane, and who's essentially killed his family members, and he has powers. We know that he has powers, and he's being, confronted by someone who's mocking him almost, and maybe. It seems at first he doesn't even know what wrongdoing he's, that he's looking for Ileana, his wife, and doesn't realize that she's dead. It's pretty crazy. He's losing his mind. It's that veil is sort of removed, and then he gets clarity, sees what he's done, calls upon the one power, and destroys himself, essentially, creates what's called Dragon Mount, this place, this mountain, because he drew upon the power. And men were going crazy. Men who could channel were kind of going crazy.
What else is new? Men going crazy.
I know, right? That's what it's all about. And then you we can come back to the prologue later, really. But that's 3,000 years sort of before the start of our story. And we're in a country, we're in Andor, this kingdom, this little country of Andor, and we're in a place called the Two Rivers, Emond's Field, this little village. And we meet Rand, Matt, Perrin, three best buddies, right? Rand is promised to Egwene, the mayor's daughter.
Well, are they promised, or they're just assuming they're going to get together?
Right. It's assumed that they're together, which is crazy. So they're rowdy. Are they? I don't know.
I think Matt out of the three of them.
Oh, he's rowdy.
Isn't that interesting? A Matt that's rowdy.
Yeah, we know one of those. Yeah, for sure. I know. So he's there. We learn about Egwene and his relationship. We learn about the village wisdom, Nynaeve. Nynaeve is sort of their healer. She's also supposed to kind of listen to the winds and do something about the weather. You've got village folk kind of saying what are we going to do about this wisdom? The weather's bad. What's going on? You have the village council. So the men operate on the village council, and then you have the women's circle. So two that's your governing bodies, if you will. You've got the mayor of Emond's Field, which is Egwene's father. So that's our setting. It's a small kind of remote village, and we get there, and the festival, Beltane, right? So this is a big deal. Party's happening. We've got a gleeman coming in, maybe some fireworks, some really cool stuff. So they're all excited. But along the way, Rand keeps seeing this person following him, or a shadow or something, right?
Yeah.
And so he's freaked out. And when they get there, he's kind of wondering whether he should tell people about this, what have you. His buddies are also seeing the same character walking, or almost out of the corner of your eye, right? You're seeing, you're looking, he's gone. I thought I saw something, then he's gone. It's this shadow that kind of comes and goes, a man in a cloak. So there's that. They're excited. They're talking about the gleeman in town. Tom Maryland is our gleeman, so we'll talk about him. And it's just this awesome, cool festival. Everyone's hyped for it. A peddler shows up. Padon Fane. I love this. This is great because, I'm going to bounce around here. I'm just setting this up, and then we're going to go wherever we want to go here. Padon Fane is there. The peddler comes in and tells them about all of this news. Tells them about he brings news that in Ghealdan, there's a false dragon. Logain. Oh, Logain, look out. And, Aes Sedai are on their way. That was kind of, and you start to get the sense from the people there, that's not a good thing to be claiming that you're the dragon, and they're calling you a false dragon. Clearly he's a false dragon. We don't want to even think about the true dragon coming back again, because there's prophecy. This is all about prophecy, and that the dragon will be. I mean, actually, right after the prologue, there's those little prophecies that the dragon will be reborn and ride again on the winds of time. So that's what's been prophesied. No one wants that to happen because it means stuff's going to get real, right? Maybe.
But prophecies are prophecies for a reason. So as much as you don't want it to happen, it's gonna happen.
It's gonna happen. It's gonna happen. That's right. Yeah. So that's kind of the setting, I guess. We're there, and there's the big attack on the village and stuff. Pot on Fane is just giving that news, and they have to kind of digest it, and they're sort of like, this is scary to think that a man can channel the one power. And I don't know, do you want to talk about the power system? Should we talk about any of that?
Yeah, because it took me a chunk, and then obviously I've now finished it, so I understand it a little bit more, that there are other men, because you don't think that men can, I don't want to say touch it, but
can touch the true source. Yeah.
Yes.
Or the one power, yeah.
And yeah. So go ahead. You tell me more, because I might not know what that means.
Well, I just kind of want you. So your thought, when people talk about fantasy, series and stuff like that, they talk about the magic system and what's created. And I think this one's really awesome. I think Robert Jordan does a really good job setting this up. It's basically, you have this source, you have the one power that individuals known as Aes Sedai, these female Aes Sedai, can draw upon it. I think about it honestly like the Force, like in Star Wars. I really do. I think of it
What's that? No, just kidding.
Right. I think it's this ability.
So it's kind of all around you, because that's really right what the Force is. The Force is.
Yeah, kind of. Yes, exactly. Yeah, it surrounds us, binds us, penetrates us, the whole thing in Star Wars.
So my question though with this is do all, and I don't know if this is too spoiler for me, because we know the story of so the women don't go insane, but the men do. But do all men who have the power to touch the one power, or whatever, do they all go insane? But I don't know if I want to know that answer. Well, now you got me second guessing myself, but I think they talk about that I think Moraine explains to the boys, because all the boys sort of know that that's a bad thing. If a man can channel that, the source, so there's two halves to the one power, Saidar and Saidin, and women can touch Saidar and they're good to go. It's not tainted. Yes.
It's not it's not been corrupted. So they can touch that no problem. That's why female channelers are okay. And I did use quotes there on that because some people don't like anyone who can channel.
Yes. Yeah. That's very much a big theme throughout the book, Don't
trust them.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. You got the White Cloaks. They don't trust people who can channel the one power, the Aes Sedai. A lot of the talk in the Two Rivers and with these, what we call the Emmons Fielders. So Matt, Perrin, Rand, Egwene, Nynaeve, who's a wisdom. And we can talk about that. So people who can channel in that group, Nynaeve and Egwene, can channel. They're told by Moraine and Aes Sedai, who shows up, right, that they can channel the one power.
Yeah.
Egwene's kind of all for it. That's kind of cool. And she's I'm ready to go. And remember, she's more like Matt Perrin and Rand's age. Nynaeve's a little older. She's a wisdom. And so in this leadership position, and she's sort of this is freaking me out. I don't know that I like that, because there's a bad connotation associated with that. You know what I'm saying?
And I think too, a lot of people, they fear what they don't know. So they don't know, really, she doesn't even know that she's done it before.
Yeah. Yes.
And they just hear the bad things and don't trust them, because you don't know what, you might make a deal with the devil kind of thing,
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. So that's, so to answer your question, I mean, I think it's pretty well conveyed in the first book that men who channel the one power, eventually will go mad. And that's what caused sort of that breaking of the world. We see that with Lews Therin, the dragon, who went mad. He got that clarity to see, look at what I've done.
Yeah.
And then he realizes that the one power that he's drawing on is tainted. It's been corrupted by the Dark One. And so that's why when they hear about a false dragon, a man who can channel Logain, that's why the Aes Sedai are going there to capture him, to take him on and to take him to be gentle. So you remember in Camelin, Remember when they get to Camelin and Rand is trying to get a look at the false dragon Logain? He wants to go see him, and he's bound. He's in this cage. He throws his head back and he laughs when he sees Rand, which is kind of eerie and scary, right? He looks over there and he sees Rand. But he's being brought in because you can't trust a man to channel the power and not go crazy and cause chaos and destroy the world. So that's their role, is to go do that. So it's crazy. It's sort of this weird thing where, like, they don't really trust the Aes Sedai, but yet you learn in Camelin the Queen has an Aes Sedai advisor. It's more like they, because they totally would respect the Aes Sedai, but they don't want anything to do with them. It's sort of like, you're like a necessary evil. We need you to go take these other men who can channel. We need you to do your thing, gentle them, but then just stay away from everyone else.
And I wonder too if part of them not trusting, like Moiraine specifically, like you kind of see Rand throughout the whole thing is like, I just need to get back home. I need to get back home.
Yeah.
Almost thinking like if she had never come, none of this would have happened. But realistically, it would have happened anyways, because you and your friends are the reason why everything is changing around you. So like
it's hard to see
there
that.
To help. Yeah.
Yeah,
like
because
he thinks like it's all almost, she came to town and now everything has changed.
Right.
Which
no, things were going.
You came to town and everything changed.
Yeah, and that's sort of the thing, is that for the longest time Moiraine is saying, like, you learn that she's seeking these individuals. She's looking for stories and stuff. She just happens to get there at the right time. It's not that she brought any of that with her. It's like a good thing she was there.
Yeah,
and she was reading the signs and she was able to kind of show up. So it takes them time to learn that.
Do you find out in Eye of the World how long, like, what was his name?
Padon Fane?
Yes, how long he was doing his thing? Or do you find that out on the hunt?
Oh gosh, that's a really good question. I can't remember exactly.
Because I don't want to spoil anything.
No, I know. I know, because you've read a little bit of read a little bit of the first book.
Yeah,
I'm trying
to
remember,
like the sixth or seventh chapter in the next book.
Because they definitely have some discussion. Without spoiling it,
I think it's in the end, but like I think like you said, she just happened to be there at the right time, right place,
right. Yeah, I mean, you do. I mean, at the end, you do learn, because they've captured Padon Fane. We're talking about the whole book here. So Padon Fane, the peddler who shows up, is a dark friend. Dark friend, and I think it's really funny. It's. I say funny after dark friend. That's not a good thing, but it's like you learn about Trollocs and Myrddraal and Fades and these like shadow spawn, these really dark creatures, and then people that look like you and I can also be a part of that group, and they're dark friends. Like that to me, I was thinking about how maybe like the TV show might do things, and how this book is sort of broken down, and that like you first sort of learn about shadow spawn, Trollocs, and just ugly, nasty, just these creatures from like nightmares. But then what's almost more scary is that you don't know if the person standing next to you is serving the shadow. You know, like that is sort of what freaks you out.
And there's things I want to say that I learned so far in the second book that I'm like, my mind is already blown.
Yeah.
But like, if you think about it, if you're used to reading this kind of genre anyways, like, you know not to trust anybody. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. Be on guard. Yeah. It was great.
What does Mad-Eye Moody say? Constant vigilance.
That's right. Darn right. And you need that in the series for sure. Yeah. Yeah. So Padon Fane is a pretty interesting character, and definitely that's more of a book 2 discussion. I'm steering clear of him just because I merge some of his story in books. But yeah, we learned that he's a dark friend at the end of this, and that's pretty scary. He's been let's talk about a little bit in this book. I mean, he keeps kind of following them.
Yeah, he's spotted everywhere.
He's spotted everywhere. We see him in Baerlon, shows up. He says, "Don't tell Moiraine that I'm here. Like, don't tell her that you saw me." He's telling Rand this in the streets of Baerlon. We see him later on in Camelin. He was the one rushing at Rand that caused Rand to run up the wall, or climb the wall. And when he meets the princess and stuff like that of Camelin. So that was kind of crazy. And then again in Fal Dara, he's in Fal Dara. Like, how the heck is he following this guy? And that's sort of one of the mysteries. Like, what is up with this character, Padon Fane? He's nuts.
Yeah.
So
he used the Ways Gate, right? Is that what it's called?
The Ways. Yes. Yeah, he traveled the Ways and was able to go up there. Yeah.
It's such a good book.
It's so good. So a couple other interesting things. So the city of... So essentially the village is attacked, right? Emmonsfield is attacked. Moraine basically says the reason this village is attacked is one of you three boys, Matt, Perrin, or Rand. And she says, if you want to protect this village, come with me. Come with me if you want to protect the village. And they basically say, okay.
Yeah.
And they leave everything behind.
Yeah.
Egwene wants to go. Nynaeve the Wisdom will catch up with them later because she's like, I got to bring those boys back. I don't know what this Aes Sedai, this Lady Moraine is up to, but she tries to get them back. Once she catches up with them, realizes this is big. This is a big deal. We're dealing with some major things here. And to ensure their safety, she travels with them and stays with the boys and Egwene. And
I think, too, with her, there's a little competitiveness with Moraine where she's like, well, if she's doing it, I can do it.
Right. Yeah. There is. Yeah. She has that spirit. I know. She's great. One of the biggest points, I guess, right after that, and I'm going to kind of go a little bit in order here, Shadar Logoth. That ancient city, Aradhal, that was corrupted by an evil. The boys go in there. Well, they all go in.
Yeah.
Matt, Perrin, and Rand decide, let's take a look around.
Yeah.
That was the scary part. You kind of knew, like, guys, look, Trollocs and Myrddraal won't go in this city. What are we doing?
Well, and then Moraine says, like, later on, she's like, did you touch it? Like, did you take anything or did you touch anything?
Right.
And they're like, no. And I was like, oh, the F you did.
Right,
like, you did. Yes, you did. Like, I saw it. Well, I mean, I read it.
Right. I know. And you're sitting there going, as the reader, you're like, guys, that's not good. That's not good. Although I think it was only Matt that knew. Right?
But, like, Matt's also like, Matt, come on. You know?
He's a rascal. He's an absolute rascal. Yeah. And their whole thing, the reasoning is like, well, you didn't say not to walk around.
Yeah.
Like, basically, they kind of get on Moraine to say, like, why aren't you telling us everything?
Yeah.
They're always jumping on Moraine for, like, why don't you tell us everything you know? And she's sort of like, guys, like, because I'm trying to save our lives.
Yeah. And I think, too, is like, she's not giving you information that you can't handle. Because, like, these kids, let's be 1,000% honest, they're sheltered. They had no idea any of these things that they're now seeing. They thought they were just stories.
Right.
So, like, they've never been beyond what city was that? They'd never, like, Baerlon was the first city they've ever seen, and they're like, just wait till you see Caemlyn. Like, you're going to be blown away. Yep. And they almost didn't believe them. And then they just kept being like, wow, this is what the world looks like. Because they'd never gone anywhere. Right. So they're shell shocked. So, like, you probably can't handle everything she's going to tell you.
Exactly. Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, and so, like, the next leg of the journey, I'm kind of breaking this down in, like, legs of the journey. They get split up by Mashadar after that whole bit. And what is it? Matt, Rand, and Tom Maryland, the Gleeman, by the way. Let's keep emphasizing he's a Gleeman. He's really cool. I love Tom.
He's very good at, like, making sure they were successful. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like, teaching them tricks because he's like, don't be dumb, basically.
Right, yeah, yes.
Learn to play some things, and he's like, you'll be able to eat wherever you want.
Right, yep. Yeah, so they learn, like, Rand learns to play the flute, Matt can juggle, things like that, yeah. So he's teaching them kind of while they're on the run. They get on a Bail Doman, Captain Doman's ship, and they're sailing up to, like, where was that? Four Kings? Yeah. They go up to the bridge, yeah. They're in Four Kings, and they're being chased by, again, the Myrddraal, Trollocs and such. And yes, I mean, so you remember that part? Tom's got to face down a fade.
Yeah.
So that they can get away.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
And I still, as of right now, they think he's dead. And I don't know.
Yeah.
Moraine was like, I feel like they would have talked about someone dying, so I don't know, like, at the end of the book.
Oh, okay.
So I don't know. I kind of hope, because I liked him.
Yeah.
I hope he's not, but at this time, I don't know. As of right now, he's, like, dead.
Right, he's dead, yeah.
But hey, you know what? That's some real courage to run really right into the face of a scary dude.
Right,
you know?
so to kind of free them up.
Yeah.
So at that point, we'll follow them for a second. Matt and Rand kind of have to use those talents that Tom taught them, go village to village, and they say, hey, we're just going to push on to Caemlyn. Hopefully, again, we were split up from Perrin, Egwene, Nynaeve, Lan, and Moraine. Hopefully they catch up with us in Caemlyn. And eventually they do. We'll get there. But along the way, Rand and Matt are pursued by dark friends.
Yeah.
There's some crazy events. Like, time seems to be kind of weird. Like, yeah.
I almost think I have to raise my hand.
Go ahead.
Like we're in Swiss.
Yes, Miss O'Malley.
So I was thinking, because Moiraine was talking to Nynaeve and
Lan?
And Egwene about, maybe not Egwene, but Nynaeve for sure. Like when she's like, have you ever like helped someone with healing and then you yourself were sick for a few hours? Because Rand gets sick.
Yes.
So was that him touching the one power?
Yes.
Like the lightning thing?
Yeah. Yeah.
Because like looking back, I was like, oh my gosh. I'm like, I knew it. I knew it. Yeah. But I like didn't know.
I think, and maybe people can leave a comment down below. I've heard people say that something happens earlier in the book to indicate that he can channel. But and I'm way into the middle of the series right now, so my mind is I'm like thinking back to the very first book. So maybe someone can leave us a comment, but I think for me, when I recall it, I think that was the first point in time where he channeled and then he was sick afterwards.
Yeah,
so,
yeah.
But if I'm wrong, I want people to leave a comment down below. I can't exactly remember. So, yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. So, but that's good that you picked up on that. That's interesting.
Like,
yeah.
Well, when it first happened, I was like, that's a little bit too convenient.
Right.
But I'll take it. And then he was sick, and I don't remember if it was before or after when Moiraine was talking about that's what happens, and I was like, oh my gosh! I'm like, I bet you that's why he was sick.
Right. Yep.
Because like then it clicks. I think that's when like the book it was like talking about him already on the wagon with that one guy whose name I can't remember, who was very nice to them and like offered them like, you don't need to go there, like come to my house, like my wife and I, blah blah blah. He was already like feeling better then, and then it like jumped back to like their time between getting on that what's it called? I just called it
wagon.
Yeah. I wanted to call it a boat. It's not a boat. Yeah. From leaving Tom to getting on the wagon, like what happened in between, and I was like, oh my gosh,
right?
He was sick.
Yeah. Yep. Exactly.
He touched it.
Yeah, so that's pretty neat. I mean, that's sort of what helps kind of save them when they're being attacked by, I think it's Goad, one of the Dark Friends or whatever, and they're coming in there. The skinny innkeeper's there and everything. Yeah, scary time.
It made me laugh so hard. He's like, I'll never trust a skinny innkeeper.
Right, I know. And that's one of the big memes. It's kind of funny. I see them and I'm just like, that's hysterical. So yeah, that's pretty neat. Now, let's back up a little bit because let's just leave them in Caemlyn. They get to Caemlyn. This is this big capital city of the nation of Andor. And Queen Morgase is there, and she's the queen in Caemlyn. Well, when we're split up before, when Maz Shadar kind of split everybody up, Perrin and Egwene stay together. They cross the river. They run across a character named Elias. What did you think about that character?
I liked him.
Yeah.
He very much was like, I'm going to do my own thing, but I'm also not here to like, I'll help you, but how am I trying to like say it? Like, he just seems kind of like a neutral character, but if he had to choose sides, like, he's not gonna not fight with them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And like he's able to hang out with those. What are they called? Are they called the Travelers?
The Tinkers. Yeah.
Well, that's not a nice thing. I don't think.
No, it's not right. But that's what. So they're either the Tuatha.
Yeah.
The traveling people.
The traveling people.
And you're right. We shouldn't call them. But that's what I mean.
That's what they're called in the book.
That's what they're called.
I'm sorry.
Yes.
It's not me calling them that.
Yes.
Because like you see that he's able to help Perrin and Egwene, but he's also like able to like jump in and talk to these guys, like because he's known him for a long time, like the traveling people, and is able to be with them. Yeah,
exactly. I mean, they respect one another and things like that. He knows that they're a peaceful people and they practice the way of the leaf and things will be that we can seek shelter here and rest for a bit. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, so that's kind of where they are. And we learned, though, something about Perrin.
So, like, this is, I just don't understand what happened. Like, how does he all of a sudden, like Elias looked at him, he's like, you're got it too. Like, you can talk to wolves.
Yeah, so at this point, I mean, your guess, what do you think? Because essentially Elias tells him, like, Elias claims he can speak, that he himself, he has very yellow eyes, almost glowing yellow, and that he can speak to wolves.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And he says that Perrin has that gift as well.
Yeah. So, but like Moiraine almost seems like it's not a great thing. And like almost like it's like more of a, well, I guess if you really think about it, they each have a little dark. Like he's got the wolf thing, Matt's got the dagger thing, and then Rand can touch the power, you know what I mean?
Right.
He
they each have their thing. Yep.
Interesting.
Yeah.
But it's also like wolves aren't necessarily like in my mind and in my headcanon of a world aren't necessarily like an evil dark thing. Like I get werewolves aren't always nice. Lupin was pretty great.
Right.
Fenrir Greyback, not so much. But it's useful. And really, like, both him and Elias seem more like, maybe more so Elias right now, because it seems like he spent a lot of time with wolves, that he's more comfortable with them, but also he's not going to be the type of person that's, like, going to, like, that's his pack. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
and he's not going to try to just attack people for no reason or anything. Like, these wolves aren't going to do it unless they're harmed. And I don't think that's a bad thing.
Yeah. I'm with you.
But other people, I would say, would disagree. You know what I mean? Like,
right. I think you said if it's different, right, or if it's like you kind of fear what you don't know. Mm-hmm. So that seems kind of, not everybody's walking around with those types with those glowing yellow eyes.
Yeah. Well, and you see later on, like, he won't even, like, he doesn't want to even look up anymore. He's like almost totally changed because he's like, I think afraid of what people are going to say about his eyes.
Right. Why did they change? Mm-hmm. Yeah. And why is it the proximity to these wolves? Is it Elias? Well, why all of a sudden did this change happen? And it seems to be something ancient, some type of ancient connection he has. Yeah. So that's interesting. So that happens. Eventually though, they encounter some white cloaks, and that is where you say, so like he is, oh gosh, I mean, he thinks that essentially these white cloaks are going to capture him and Egwene.
Yeah.
And maybe they're not going to let them, he ends up fighting them. He ends up killing a few. Perrin does. Yeah. And the wolves intervene as well. And
well, I think that don't the wolves intervene before he even attacks them?
Yes.
So it's more so like, and I won't lie, if, like, say this was my dog and my dog went to go, like, help because, like, they're being attacked. Like, the guys are being very, like, the white cloaks are very aggressive, I would say.
Yes.
Then you go and kill an innocent animal. Like, knock it off. Leave people alone. You know what I mean?
Yeah, they were the aggressors. Yeah, and then so, for sure.
I would also, like, you killed my dog.
Yeah, I know.
Well, I guess he's not a dog, but.
Right. No, I get it. And that's essentially, so then Perrin is, I mean, he's something kind of.
I just don't care for, I don't know if anybody cares for the white cloaks. I think that you should MYOB, and it's just dumb.
Yeah. The white cloaks are something else, that's for sure. Yeah, that's really the big major encounter. We will see them again later in Camelin. We'll talk about that briefly. But so to wrap that part up, they have that encounter. They're kind of captured there. Lan, Moraine, and Nynaeve show up, and they rescue Perrin and Egwene. Mm-hmm. And it's a pretty cool moment. Like, Nynaeve and Lan are getting closer and closer. Yeah. A little competitiveness there. You know, she's trying to, it's almost like she wants to sneak, like if she can sneak up on him or show her worth or like, I don't know, like her skill set, she's trying to show off a little bit.
Yeah.
And I don't know.
Because like she is, because, you know, when she first gets to them, and he's almost like, I hid my tracks very well. And she's like, but I know what to look for. Like, you know, so it was like cool where he was like, oh no, like I'm losing my edge. Yeah. And she's like, Are you? Yeah. No. Yeah, I know. So that's a neat dynamic that's going on. We can talk about that at the end. To speed us along though, so they rescue them. Mm-hmm. We head into Camelin, as I already kind of mentioned. There's some cool stuff there. We meet Loyal. What did you think about Loyal? I loved him from like Jump. I liked that it literally like Rand at first was like, oh shoot, it's a Trolloc, and then he's like, no, you're a cool dude. Right. Immediately, like within like minutes of meeting him. Yeah. Which I think says a lot about both Rand and Loyal. And I just love him. Yeah,
I agree with you. Yeah, because like if all of a sudden you were, it's that immediate sort of like, oh my gosh, no, I shouldn't have thought that. It's just the look. It was startling. Didn't expect to see him in the library and things. So yeah, Loyal is pretty neat. And he's this wealth of knowledge. Yeah. He knows a lot. Yeah. He is young for an Ogier. Right.
But he's also old, right?
He's old. Yeah. He's like 90 or something. I think. Yeah. So that's pretty neat. But essentially in Ogier years, that would be like a teenager. Crazy. You know, it's crazy. It's pretty crazy. So, they get there, and I mean, all this information kind of comes to a point where like Perrin is saying, hey, when we were with the Tuatha'an, they were telling us about this Aiel, right? Some of the messages or the warning that they got, that the Dark One was going to maybe make a strike or was going to use the Eye of the World and to turn it against, people and stuff. So she hears about that. Loyal gives her some more information. The dreams. I didn't even really mention this, but because that gets in a whole other realm, right? Rand, Matt, and Perrin are all dreaming about this guy called Balsamon. Yeah. The Dark One, as they say. Yeah. So,
well, and like what's crazy is like they're having the dreams, and like the one Rand pricks his finger and then he's bleeding when he wakes up. Like, and before that, the one dream that they were with the rats.
Yeah.
But they were like, no, we're not telling Moraine we can't trust her.
You're right.
And she had asked them, and they had lied about it, right?
Gosh, they need to stop that.
And it's just like, no, like she's there to help you. Like, and I think that they're just, from the stories they've been told their entire lives, they just don't trust her when really, like,
Right.
she's in your corner.
Yeah. Yes. It takes they don't realize that. They're not. No, you're right. You're right. So the whole way we're kind of, Moraine is piecing together what she's hearing from everyone, and kind of on the fly saying things are moving faster than I thought. The whole goal, by the way, I forgot to kind of mention this, but the whole goal is we're going to take these boys who the Dark One is after, and if the Dark One's after them, well, then my main thing is I don't want the Dark One, whatever he wants, I want to counter.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? So if he wants them, then I'm going to take them from him. And I'm going to take them back to the safest place, which is Tar Valon, where all of the Aes Sedai kind of are gathered. You have the White Tower there. And instead of going there, she realizes that they need to go to the Eye of the World without help. They need to enter the ways. The city, by the way, is surrounded. Caemlyn is surrounded by Shadow Spawn. They can sense it. And there's white cloaks in the city. There's a bunch of political turmoil, which we don't really need to get into, between reds and whites and everything. And whether you can sort of see the tension between like having an Aes Sedai advisor, having an alliance with the Tower, Aes Sedai who can channel.
Or even like, it's just like even liking the crown. You know what I mean? Like the queen.
Yes.
Controversial.
Yeah, it is. You're right. So there's all that kind of going on. So the backdrop to this. But Moraine says, here we go. They take the ways, which the ways is something that the Ogier kind of use to travel from steading to steading. It's sort of like, when you're in the airport and you know those things that you walk on, what are those, like the walking, I don't know what those are called. Escalator things, you know what I'm saying?
They're kind of like escalators, but you're not going up.
You're not going up, yeah. So
I almost said a walking sidewalk.
Who knows what they are?
That's not a moving sidewalk.
Leave a comment down. Let us know what they are. So like when you step on that, you're walking, you're just zooming by, right? So it reminds me of that. You're in there and you can travel great distances in a short amount of time.
Yeah. So it also reminds me of like, because you find out like it's tainted. Yeah. But it reminds me of in Shrek, in the first one, where like they have to cross the bridge to get to the tower that Fiona's in. Yeah. Over the boiling lake of lava. That's what it makes me think, 'cause it's like rickety in my head.
Right, because there was all these bridges and stuff like that.
And like they talk about like stuff's been falling down and like some places are blocked and.
Right, it seemed like it was there was a lot of damage. Yeah, so they travel that. They go far north to the nation of Shinar. And they're there in a place called Faldara. Wow, I'm thinking way back to the first book. So they're there, and there's the northern kind of nations. They still fight the Shadow. To them, the southern nations don't understand that like Trollocs are real. Like they think it's a myth, just like Rand. Like Trollocs, right.
Didn't they make a comment somewhere along the lines that like, where they're from, like Two Rivers, they don't even, because he had no idea there was even a queen. Yeah. And they're technically part of that nation.
They
are. That's their queen, but like, even maybe the queen mentioned it. She's like, they don't even pay us taxes. Like,
right. They're so far.
Yeah. Like they don't even know.
Right.
They don't even know.
They don't even know. No. And so it's sort of like, you see, it's a vast like continent, and you realize that people who are literally just kingdoms above you are really far removed kind of from these southern nations, because it's like they are fighting a war against Trollocs and Shadowspawn. So they get up there, and Moraine essentially tells Lord Algamar, who is there, kind of the leader, that we need to go to the Eye of the World. And so they get a little escort, they go there, and I guess let's just talk about that, just to kind of keep this a little shorter, because I could talk about it all day long in every single angle here.
Well, it is 8:30, and I have another meeting to be
I know it is. I just noticed Swish is calling. So just text him and say we're talking about Eye of the World. What are they going to do? Yeah, they're going to see this later and be like, are you kidding me? But to get to that point, it's sort of this great, they go there to the Eye of the World, and we learn that it is this sort of pool of saidin that is pure, that a man could pull from and not essentially be corrupted. So they meet the Green Man who's up there, who's kind of like he's there to protect it. And
I liked him.
Yeah, he's cool. He's really cool, and it's a sad. His ending. He protected the Eye of the. He was there.
Yeah.
I mean, he had. Yeah. If people needed safety or their need was great in the Blight, they could find a safe haven there essentially. And Moraine knows that no one has a greater need than they do, so they're able to make it. Green Man is there, and he kind of saves them. Now here's the kicker, just to get right to it all. What did you think about the battle between, our crew, our travelers, and the Forsaken?
I mean, they all kind of dropped. You know what I mean? Like they all except for Rand. And Moraine, I guess, but she was like suffering afterwards. It just once it was like just him and like the guys, because the green guy killed the guy whose name something with a B that I can't remember.
Yeah,
and he took him down, so it was just like the other
Agenor.
Yes, yeah.
It was the one who Rand was. Yeah.
That went by like it all just happened really quickly,
like fast,
and I had to like reread it because I'm like literally don't know what just happened, because like 1 second he's with this guy, then he like cuts the cord or something, and then all of a sudden he's like in the middle of a battlefield, and then
Tarwin's Gap,
and then all this stuff like suddenly happens, and then he's seeing that Balsamon, right? Is that how you say that? And he's still denouncing him, right?
Yeah, oh yeah.
And he's like, not today, sir, not today.
Yeah.
And then he like comes back, and I think he's he doesn't remember anything.
Yeah.
But like the first name he thinks of, like he remembers Egwene, correct? Is that the first one? Like, and maybe Moraine. Like,
when he's getting his memories back. Yeah, kind of. Yeah.
Because he's like, I don't know what just happened, and then he's like trying to remember who he was.
He's got another voice in his head. He's being called, by the way, the entire time he's being called Luce Theron.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, because throughout, right, they were like, every age, like, you've always bowed down to me kind of thing. Like, every time you and I have done this, like, we've been through this every year, basically, not every year, but like every age, we've been through this, and you've never won. I'm going to get you every time. You're going to be mine. Regardless, like, if you're alive or dead, I'd prefer you alive, but I can still use you dead.
Yes.
And so he's still trying to be like, no.
Right.
And then he like comes back, but he climbs up, right? He like, or is that when he's going to see him? Because he's climbing up something. And didn't they say like something with the Eye of the World? Like there was like a tunnel or something. Is that what he climbed? Does that have nothing to do with what he climbed?
Well, so first, I mean, he keeps thinking he wants to get away. When he's facing Agenor, the Forsaken, he wants to get away. He just keeps thinking, away. I've got to get away. And he's, he does. He gets away, and he is transported essentially away. It's as if like it says in the book that like his mind, he went to the back, and like it's almost like as if he was speaking to someone else in his mind. As if he had been taken over essentially, and draws upon the power, and then it is as if he is not really there, and he's facing Balsamon, right? And as you mentioned, the cords are kind of coming; they're each sort of attached to a source, and he can see that, and so he was struggling with Agenor, in who could claim who could tap into the Eye of the World and that power, that source. And Rand he's able to do that, and he's also able to do that again against Balsamon. He does it in Tarwin's Gap. I mean, he literally shows up there for like a split second. Remember, and he raises the earth and destroys the Trollocs army and everything.
Because like when you hear about it later, they're like, we literally don't know what happened. It was kind of like the earth exploded, and we won. Like
we won. Yes, and that was Rand.
Yeah,
right? He was. Yeah. So we kind of see that Rand doesn't even really. Yes, it's sort of a blur to him, and it is very fast.
I think it like happened in like a paragraph. I almost was like, I went back to read it because I was like, I literally don't know what just happened. Yeah, I'm like, because it was quick.
Right. Yeah. It's a cool little confrontation there. And Rand, I mean, his whole thing is he faces Balsamon, severs his cord, and he's won.
Yeah, for now.
Rand says he won. He beat him.
there's 14 books, so I don't trust it.
Yeah. So,
but then he comes back, and I think he's realized like what he's done. Not only because he's now touched the power, and he knows he has, and it's for sure. And not only does he know, Moiraine knows, Nynaeve knows, Egwene knows. Is that how you call her name?
Nynaeve, yeah.
And with that whole thing, like he...
so Matt and Perrin don't know.
Correct. And they still, like, he doesn't want them to know.
That's right.
And he is almost, like, sad that Egwene knows because, like, at the beginning of the book, he's like, I'm going to marry her. And then he talks to that one woman in Barillon where she's like, you both love each other, but, like, you're not meant to be. Yes. And I was like, no.
Right. Yep.
And then you see later on, they both are like talking about how like she met, was it Aram, and he met the princess, the daughter heir, right?
Daughter heir, yeah, Elaine.
And there was like another girl, and I forget what her name is, but he said something about meeting the daughter heir, like who is that? And then like she gets all mad. She's like, if you're gonna lie to me, like don't even talk to me.
right, yeah.
And he's like, I didn't do anything.
That's yeah.
So like now that whole thing now changes like their whole dynamic.
Yes. Because she knows he can channel, and his whole thing is like, you can't marry someone who, like, he would never do that to Egwene. You can't marry. I mean, I'm a monster.
Yeah.
Essentially, he thinks he's a monster. Like, I will go mad. It's over. There's no future for me with Egwene now.
But you said that the men that went insane, right, touched the tainted power.
Right.
And you said the eye of the world is untainted.
Right. But then you brought up earlier that he had touched the...
Oh, I guess it is true.
Remember, he touched the source back when he was running from the Dark Friends.
He did indeed.
And also, they do talk about once you've touched it, that it's something it seems to call to you. And it's almost like once you've opened yourself up to it...
Yeah.
Not ever being able to touch it again or sense it or whatever, there's like almost like a pull or a draw. It would be next to impossible to not want its sort of life to you.
Yeah.
You know,
and like
it's part of who you are.
It seems too that like almost like in Harry Potter, like before they have wands and stuff, like they're doing accidental magic. They don't, like, Harry doesn't mean for the glass to go away. So Rand doesn't mean for the lightning to strike, but he's just thinking like, he's so desperate.
Yes.
And in that big need of something.
Does something.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sort of when he's transported away. Yeah.
Let me say one thing.
And then let's wrap this up.
That I'm surprised. This is the moment that blew my mind, and it happened fairly quickly in the book. Okay. To the point where I'm like, this is why I'm like, Tiffany, I'm like, I need you to read this book. So Trollocs come. His dad's suddenly sick. Oh, did his dad touch the one power? I don't know. Whatever. He was fighting Trollocs. That's why he got sick. That's what happened.
Right. Yeah.
You're looking at me like you know something.
Well, no, we don't know much about his father.
It's not his dad. Not his biological father.
How do you know that?
Because he said it. I literally was like, oh my gosh. I'm like, literally like, I swear, a page into the book. Yeah. And he's talking about how he's like, we found a baby. And, you know, my, like, whatever his wife's name is.
Carrie Althor.
Yeah, she's like, I think that Rand's a good name. And poor Rand's carrying his dad on his back, like pulling him, walking into the town.
Hearing this.
Yeah. And he's just thinking, and that's, again, a prevalent theme, like, this is my father, this is his sword, like, that is my father.
That's true, the Heron-marked blade. Yes.
And I was, like, blown away. I was like, oh, like, here, like, you're dropping truth bombs, like, 3 chapters into this book. Yeah. And you're going that deep. Like quick. It's going to be a wild ride.
So that was your hook. That's a big hook for you right there. Yeah.
Yeah. Because immediately stuff was happening. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah. That's good. I like that.
I literally read it. I'm
so glad you brought that up because that's one of the,
I'm more than likely, I'm positive that I gasped out loud. I was like, what?
Right. Yeah, because that's a huge deal. I mean, the whole time he won't give up that hair, even though he's like the attention the Heron-marked blade brings to him. He will not part with that because it reminds him of his father. It's a connection to his father. He will not. So yeah, it's huge. It's huge. Okay, that's great. We will leave it there. Just good to discuss. Good to talk about these things. You're into the Great Hunt. You're enjoying that. We're gonna have to continue the conversation as you finish reading. and not spoil anything moving forward.
Yeah.
So, all right. Thanks so much. You can check Sarah out on Swish and Flick, a Harry Potter podcast. Go look them up. You've got various social medias as well. I think
we got them all: Facebook, Instagram.
I'll link them
Twitter,
down below. You know,
there's
too many to go over, so just put them down in the description. So, all right, friends. Well, with that, thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe, and remember that the grave is no bar to our call.